All right, ladies and gentlemen, as requested, in case you want a calculator to do a little bit of work here when it comes to your graphing on assignments and things with absolute value, I'm going to show this. But to be 100% honest, I'm going to tell you in advance, it's a whole lot easier to do it without it. But without further ado, I will show you with, and then I'll show you how fast it goes without. So let's say I want to put this on my calculator. I go to y equals. If there happens to be something there, this clear button is wonderful. It'll just zap it all out of there. But there's nothing there this time. So I start to type. When I get to needing the absolute value, right here below alpha is a math button. This is a wonderful button because this gives you a whole bunch of things you can put in when you're doing application stuff. So in this case, we don't need a fraction, we don't need decimals, we don't need roots, later, but not now. We're going to arrow over one to the numeric menu, and number one right on the top is absolute value. So we're going to hit enter or number one here, and that will bring up our absolute value. Okay? Whenever we're dealing with x needing to be in here, graphing a line, graphing absolute value, graphing other things as we get a little later into the semester, right here, okay, that literally says x first on it. That's the x button. We're going to press that. We're going to do -1, minus, this is negative, this is minus. The calculator thinks they're different for some reason. I don't know why. So I get here. Now, the +2 is on the outside. If I do +2 right now, that's bad. Okay, don't like that. Delete. The calculator's telling me what to do. Hey, you want out of here? Hit the right button. So we do. And +2. We're ready to go. So once we're ready to go, that graph button right there, that's going to become something we use a lot here in a second. We're going to hit the graph button. Hardy. What the frittata is that? That is not what that should look like. Okay, well, what do I do if I get something weird looking? Normally, you're going to have a 10 by 10 graph. If I go to window, this should say -10, that should say +10, and all this stuff. Now, could I go in and do that for all these individually? Sure, but I don't want to spend that much time. This is the one time I'm willing to be lazy. So I'm going to hit zoom, and I'm going to go to number 6, which says, hey, calculator, I want 10 by 10x and 10 by 10y. I want the normal stuff. And it'll do it for me. Now it looks like what we were doing yesterday. And if I go to window, -10 to 10, -10 to 10. This is normal. So anytime you get a calculator and somebody's messed with it, zoom number 6 is your friend. Now, this is nice to see. No, we're not done with this yet. So Hardy, now what do I do? So quick flashback to yesterday when we were talking about this without the calculator. We talked about, this is the expression when I'm looking at this. AX minus H plus K. Okay? Your vertex is HK. So, easy peasiest way to do it is to say, ooh, this is the opposite of H, so if it's -1, the opposite of that is 1. And plus K just means I keep what's there. So my vertex is at 1, 2. Let me show you something with the calculator now. If we do, whoops, let me make sure you can see it. If we do second graph, see how it says table there? Second graph. Here's what I want you to do. I know we kind of cheated because we looked to see what the vertex was going to be, but get that 1, 2 to the middle of your chart by using the up and down arrows. So, okay, there's 1, 2. Well, how do I know that's the vertex? It doesn't say. Check out the values above it and the values below it. 5, 5, 8, 8, 11, 11, 4. There's symmetry there. Okay, I know you know that from geometry at some point. So if there's symmetry, this means this has to be the middle because that's where the symmetry starts. So if you were just going to use the calculator, you'd scroll up and down until you found symmetry. You'd mark that as your vertex, and then you'd use the other points to plot your points to graph this, which I actually am going to do. I'm just going to manually make my chart, though. So here, if I have a graph, I apologize. Not perfection here, but also we're working on a little bit of a time crunch. So, okay. So I make my point at 1, 2. Now, if you notice, let's go to the points around it. So I got 0, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I got 2, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 3 points is enough. I like more when I can, but I don't really see that here. But where did those come from besides the calculator? That's where slope comes into play. My a value is 3, or 3 over 1. Since my a value is positive, I know it's going to be opening upward. If it was negative, it would open downward. So I know it's opening up. So think about how slope goes. We're going to go up 3. I know it's normally right. We're going to go up 3 and over 1. Because we have to do it with absolute value, it's both ways. That's why we call it the air quote slope. But do you see how much faster it is if I just go whoop and I'm done? Like, let me show you how much of a difference there is. Let's do one more. So I'm going to make my graph here real quick. Just a sec. Okay, so no calculator at the start. Vertex. Opposite of h. There's my k. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. My slope, my a, is negative 1/2. I know it's going to be opening down. So I'm going to go down 1 and over 2. I'm going to go down 1 and over 2. Bam, bam. I don't know if anybody timed me. I forgot to time myself. I think that was about 30 to 40 seconds. Now, let's do the same thing on the calculator. If I do it in the calculator, there's even another thing I got to remember. Clear. If I'm going to do fractions, I have to do parentheses, or this will not work. It will be bad. So negative 1/2, math, numeric, number 1, x plus 4, get out of there, minus 1, not negative 1. So I look at my graph. I can kind of see it looks like the one I made already. But again, if I didn't do this in advance, second graph, ooh, look at all those decimals. So I see negative 1.5, negative 2, negative 2.5, negative 3. I see the same numbers on both sides. So now I could go in, if I wanted to, I don't really like graphing fractional numbers, but like negative 6, negative 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, there that one is. And if I go to the other side, negative 2, negative 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Do you really want to go through all that with the calculator and possibly forget a button, possibly forget a parenthesis, possibly forget a negative? Who wants to do all that? So yes, you have this in your rear view, in your back pocket now if you need it. But that's not one where you get to a quiz, you should be coming up to me saying, what are all these button presses again? You either need to commit to it, which I still wouldn't. I'd do it manually, or play with it enough that you know what you're doing. Hope this helps. We'll see you next time.